record now. Let's just talk.
I'm doing it. I'm doing
this
it.
Is shaving the. This is shaving the gerbil, where we just talk about shit. Let's do it.
Shaving the shard. So, how's everybody doing?
All right, you?
Yeah, I'm good.
Good?
I'm good. I'm
You had a good
excited.
weekend?
We have like less than 3 weeks.
I know, right?
I can't believe it.
I can't believe it either.
It's felt like such a long time, and now it's like it seems to be slowing down.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy, but at the same time, it's just come. I feel like it's come really fast. Well, when you just think about when it was first announced, I mean, it felt like it was just never going to happen. Now it's here. It's
Yeah.
nearly
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Great.
I'm nervous. I'm nervous for it to come out because the fandom's gonna blow up, and we're gonna get stupid questions like, "Who's the boy?" Like, I'm not ready.
What's boy name? Yeah. Yeah.
I love that.
What's a nurse gag?
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Because like we've waited. It's been so long since like the original movie,
Mm,
and to actually have it physically in front of you,
yeah,
like new material on screen, is going to be like mental.
and it feels like, for me, I feel like I've been waiting since 2005 because I waited
Oh yeah.
so long for
So look, yeah.
gave
Oh.
up until for about 10 years, and I was like, right, yeah, no,
Yeah, it's like checking Empire magazine to see if there's like any
Yeah.
2 column.
definitely. I
Or
used to go on
scouring-
the IMDb message board for Power of the Dark Crystal constantly, and just be dead.
I
Yeah.
remember scouring the internet for the sizzle reel for 2005 because I had seen it. It was on YouTube. I watched it. They showed the Kira puppet's mouth moving and all that, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And then it disappeared forever. And I think that website Habibabad had it for a
Yeah.
minute, and then it disappeared off then. But yeah, it feels like we've been waiting since 2005 for this.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that just goes to show how much they covered it up because I was not even aware that they'd even built puppets. I thought it was just concept that they got to. So the fact that they actually got to building Kira and Jen shows that's why they
Yeah.
probably went to try and do the comic, try and get some money back from it.
Yeah, I was never sure whether they were like sort of computer generated puppets or real puppets, but it's interesting they were actually built. I'd love to
Yeah,
see.
I'd never seen that, so I didn't know. I've never known if they made Jen and Kira for Power.
Yeah, they
So
did.
that's awesome. You saw that,
Yeah,
Jamie.
yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Was it just her mouth moving a little bit? Was it?
Well, the picture though, remember the photo that they showed of Jen and Kira?
Yeah.
Those were the actual puppets that they made for the film. They weren't
Mhm.
renders.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
So was the sort of Queen Kira thing? Was that a render with all the headdress on and stuff?
I think so. That was for what magazine? Cinefex.
Yeah,
when they
yeah.
sort of announced Power of the Dark Crystal.
Yeah.
Then Brian Froud released that, or Henson released that Brian Froud rendering of Kira.
hmm I actually really dig that design. I thought she looked amazing.
Yeah.
And that's why I was so gutted because the Dark Crystal ends as it does. Like I never understood why they went down the route of a sequel. Like
Yeah.
it just didn't feel right. And clearly they never got to that point where they could make it feel right because it was never, they just couldn't pull it off.
Yeah, I think if you're going to do a sequel, you just got to set it so far in the future and just have just completely new, just not. I wouldn't even have had them two in it really, apart from some hieroglyphics of them or something. Because I just think
Yeah.
you just
Yeah,
you've got to have a whole new society built from something.
Yeah, whereas like with Age of Resistance, like it pretty much is do what you want and you can bring back your fan favourites as well.
Do not be afraid. I am here to help you, yes.
That's why I'm so excited for it because everything we've seen, like there's not one thing I've seen that I dislike. Like the fact that it feels like Dark Crystal is like an achievement in itself. Let alone the fact that they seem to have absolutely nailed Aughra's voice as well, you know, because of like Jamie posted in the group with Donna Kimball. Like it's just, I just can't believe how many hurdles they've got over to make it legitimate.
Completely.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, I just still can't believe that they were given the money to do it. It's like it's just insane. It must have cost so much. It feels like just the biggest gamble I can remember.
Yeah.
Sort of in like showbiz history for a long time. I mean, it's a massive gamble. It's just they must really believe in it. I'm going to pay off. But
I think the thing is as well is like I think the reason they've invested so much and they've done it the way they are is because there is nothing else at the moment that looks like this. Like Jamie said it before on Trial by Stone. Like there's literally nothing. You look at any other part of the movie industry or TV show, like there is nothing to do with puppets. Like stop motion is probably the closest you come, but not like this.
Yeah. Although I do think it's funny that Amazon is releasing Carnival Row, which is with fairies and goblins and all of these things, and the effects look really shitty. Like I was looking at the effects. The show, I watched the show. The show looks interesting, but like her wings, like what's her name, Cara Delevingne, Devine's wings, like they look like rubber. They don't even look real. I mean, maybe it was an early render. I'm not really sure, but I do think it's funny that they're launching the show the same day Age of Resistance launched. But there's not even a comparison.
Is it? Is that set in like the modern world, in our world?
Well, it's meant to be it's like a different branch, like a different timeline, isn't it? So I think it's meant to be sort of like, is it Victorian era?
Yeah,
something like that.
In England. Yeah.
I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, I don't know too much about it either, to be honest.
The weird
trailer
thing
looks
is
good.
Yeah, the trailer does look. The weird thing I found with it is that like you were saying about the effects, it's like they pulled back. It's like they didn't want to go full on with like some of the like creature design. So there was a couple I saw which is like a fawn or a centaur, and they're kind of like it's clearly a guy with a couple of horns glued on. Like it's not like a full
is it like a
character design?
Mr. Tumnus?
Yeah. Well, it looks worse than Mr. Tumnus. It just looks like it's on a tight budget.
Well,
whereas Age of Resistance isn't at all.
Exactly. AOR didn't have that problem.
So I know you guys told us this privately, but I'm just interested, even though we're not really anything formal. We just decided to kind of get together and like have conversation. But like, where were you guys when you heard the announcement for Age of Resistance?
I think I was at work. I was sat at my desk at work, and I got like my mate texted me and was just like, "Oh, have you heard about Dark Crystal?" And I was like, "Yeah, what?" And he's like, "They're doing a new series. They've dropped a trailer." And I was like, "Yeah, whatever, get out." And I'm like, literally, and then I literally went on Facebook, and it was like everybody had tagged me, like, "Look what's happening."
I was also sat down, but let's say I was sat down in the bathroom.
This is a good story.
How the British say they were just sitting in the bathroom
with a cup of tea.
Yeah, as opposed to shitting in the bathroom.
It must have been from my browsing, but a YouTube thing just popped up with it, and I was like, "What's?" And I think for most of when I was watching it, I just was so confused whether it was some sort of retrospective documentary. I couldn't work out if it actually was a new series. I had to watch it a few times. I was like, is this like Dirt Hope it is? And I was like, it is, isn't it? It is. It's new. I was so excited. I couldn't believe it.
It was kind of confusing, that announcement. I was like, wait, what is this? Is this a movie? Is this a series? Is this animated?
Yeah, because they opened with that little part from the documentary where it's Jim talking about like the Dark Crystal. So it's straight away you're like, well, I've seen this. So what is this?
Yeah.
And then you see that early prototype of Skek-Tek, and I'm just like, puppets.
Did you guys see that? Did you guys see that post by Cameron Richardson of I think that's the prototype of Skek-Tek behind her. I don't know where they are, if it's in there.
Yeah, with the rods.
Yeah.
The green screen stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, not that photo, but she posted on Instagram this morning.
Oh right.
And
But I need to
there's-
look this up.
And there's the prototype of Skektek behind her, and I don't know where they are. If they're in their house, if it was moved. I mean, I don't. Louis doesn't seem like the type of guy to have.
Oh yeah, I know what you
the-
mean now.
the
Yeah,
thing in his house,
she's
but-
doing a selfie, isn't she?
Oh.
He's like, I wonder if that's from the from the thing at San Diego Comic-Con.
I think so. Louis said that they had a rap party, like last night. So maybe that's where she was at.
Oh,
That's cool.
oh wow.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that was at San Diego Comic-Con. I don't. Is that the
Oh,
prototype? It kind of looks like it.
On the roof of
I
it.
think so.
That's so
What-
cool. I'd take
what-
that home if I was Louis. I'm gonna put this in the living room.
That's so amazing.
I would
I
have
tell
got that whole Fluffin from San Diego Comic Con. It was
Oh,
a Fluff, wasn't
yeah.
it? Oh,
Yeah.
I'd have
Oh,
got
I
that.
know. I couldn't get in to see that thing.
Oh.
I really wanted to, but I wanted just to see the little pluffin or whatever it's called.
So cute.
It's got such big eyes.
I know. You guys would be
Yeah.
able to see it up close.
Like a bush bit. Oh yeah. Oh.
Literally like 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Oh.
Whoa, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's like, I'm going on. I think it's Monday the 26th that I'm going, which is the bank holiday. So it's 5 days before the show drops.
I'm going on the final day because I couldn't work out whether I wanted to see the show first, but I think I want to see the show first and then enter the world. So I'm going on I think it's like the 6th of September. I'm going. It's the final day that I'm going anyway.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Because I know that the screening I'm at, they're showing the behind the scenes documentary, and I'm kind of like, do I want to see it? I can't imagine they'll show much spoilers, but even so, it's sort of like, do I want to see it? Yeah, I want to see it. Do I want to see it? Yeah, I want to see it.
Yeah. Oh, I
Ethan,
thought you were the first episode screening.
Say again.
I thought you were going to the first episode screening.
Well, yeah, I am. But it's
Oh.
it's like 3 hours, so I think
Wow.
it's the first episode, the making of, and then a Q&A with Louise Gold.
Oh, fantastic.
So that'll be pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
And then I've got the exhibition afterwards.
What a
You
day.
guys have to take so many photos.
I know.
Oh my
I'm
God, it's
I
gonna be
literally
so
like
awesome.
taking photos of so
Yeah.
much.
He's gonna be.
Yeah.
James is gonna be walking up to puppets. Can you sign this? Can you sign this? Please? Here's a pen.
My wife-
Forcing the puppet to sign it. Sir, it's not real. Sir, you're tearing its hand off.
Real.
It's real to me.
My wife will be phoning me like, James, you've been there 8 hours. Come home.
I'm home.
Well, I'm thinking for me, since it's the final day, I might just hang around like, do you want me to help you clear up and, take things off?
Can I take this puppet home with me? Is
Get
that
rid
all
of
right? Where you?
Just put a fluff them in your pocket.
Like, there's like 3 of these puppets, right? I can have this one.
That on the train with
Deed
Bria.
goes missing.
There's wanted posters all over. A muggle
Uh,
has stolen Deet.
Oh dear.
Oh.
I'll tell you what I did notice. I was looking at that amazing Weta Workshop model of Skekso.
Mm.
And I don't know if anybody else has noticed, but you know the Emperor's staff that he has. It's like longer. Like it's got an extra bit on the bottom. So like like the one from the film, the replica that Chronicle Collectibles have done, which is an
Well,
exact replica from
shorter
the
one, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you are
so it's got-
right, good sir.
It's got like an extra bit on the bottom. So I wonder if it gets broken.
in battle.
Oh.
Oh,
Spoilers.
how did I not notice this?
I
Just saying.
Ethan.
Yeah.
I'm
I
disappointed.
sit and
Ethan.
stare at
You need
this
to-
stuff
You need to
all
log
day.
off.
I've been staring at Hub too much. This is my problem.
Yeah. God, I love that one.
You guys are funny. Like, what are those spoons? He's a podling. He's a cook. That's what those spoons
Dude,
are.
I did not
What does he
notice
do?
had a
Are they
spoon,
magical?
Like on his lapel.
He's waving at everything, though. It's just brandishing spoon at everything.
He's obsessed with the soup.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Either that, or he's the first podling to create crystal meth in
It definitely will.
Actual crystal meth, dark crystal meth.
That's what this prequel's actually about.
The dark underbelly of Thra.
Breaking
What-
crystal.
What is he aspiring to be? 'Cause he's aspiring to be something that no podling has ever been before, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think he said something about a palace guard.
Oh, right.
Aw,
I
that's
think
so
that's
cute.
what it said. But yeah, so
In
but
trouble.
I mean, from all the pictures we've seen, he's like obviously attached to Deet, but
Yeah.
I think Ryan is, or Ryan, however you pronounce it, is part of that like collective.
Yeah. So they might latch onto him as a bit of a hero.
I guess
Yeah.
the real question is, do you think Deet and Hup will be romantically involved?
Oh,
Will Deet be like, I love you, and Hup will be like, our love is forbidden, you know?
but I've got this spoon.
Like, I don't
But you
know.
only have 3 fingers. I have 4.
Like, how about we spoon and find out, you know? There we go. I can't stop looking at Skekso's staff now. You have messed
no,
with my
man,
mind.
that's it now. And
What picture
interestingly
is that?
enough,
What picture?
so if you go to the photo on the Weta Workshop
Oh, okay.
of the model, but what is even more interesting is you remember the original photos that were dropped in Empire, and there's the image of Skekso in all his battle armor, and his little hand is holding the staff, right?
Mm.
The staff is short, it's not long.
What does it mean? Oh my gosh, you're freaking me out now. Oh, wow. Oh man, you just broke my brain.
I literally like 2 minutes before I came on, I was like, I'm just gonna look at that. I'm gonna look at that model again because it's like beautiful. And then I was like, oh my god.
I'm extremely impressed with this because I know I've said it off the air. Skekso from Age of Resistance could walk right into a scene from the film and
Yeah.
nobody would bat an eye.
No, right?
Yeah.
He
It's
doesn't look
amazing.
weird. He
No, he doesn't.
He fits. I was worried. I was worried that the Emperor would look weird and I guess almost fan fictiony. Like I thought he'd have like extra big clothes. His collar would be too big and stupid, but he is so fitting, so perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think all of it does. I mean, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
I
yeah,
think-
absolutely.
like this, like the fact that they're making it with puppets, you know, helps a lot. But even like the decision to augment it with CGI, I really feel like this way of doing filmmaking is how CGI is meant to be. I mean, there's so many things in film now where they just go, oh, we'll just CGI it because it's easy. Whereas it really feels like the team that put this together have really sat down and thought, hang on a minute, what needs to be CG and what can we do to ground this and make it feel real? Like that the scene with Chamberlain in the Batmobile or whatever, like it doesn't feel fake. Like you feel like there's real things there, and then it's then just the background or there's little bits here and there. It's not just all CG, and it helps you believe it more, I think.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
which means it helps the audience engage the show more. I think, like all the problems that most people have with like films, for instance, like the Star Wars prequels or whatever, story aside, a lot of it is it doesn't feel real, and when it doesn't feel real, we engage less.
Yeah.
When your eyes telling you like, oh no, that's real, you're just kind of like, and all these big movies with the like. What was that? They did a sequel to Independence Day. I mean, that was probably shot
Yeah.
entirely on green screen.
Oh
It just looked-
God.
not to compare like Age of Resistance to that, but I just do think it's important that like practical effects matter. They make people engage emotionally with the show because something's there. Even though we're watching it on TV, it's there in a physical space, and it's pretty exciting.
And
Yeah.
it also works more with horror as well. So Dark Crystal is. So I always thought it was like a fantasy horror for kids. Like
Absolutely.
If that Skeksis is real, I remember as a 6-year-old me sitting watching the original, and the only thing I remember from that was Skekso dying in his bed.
I am still Emperor.
And it was the most horrific thing I ever saw. And it sticks with you. And that, again, will now happen going forward. So you will see things, and it will leave more of an impact.
It will, it's especially more so on the kids that will watch this, because there's sort of young kids that have grown up pretty much completely with CGI cartoons, even like the kids' TV shows, mostly sort of CGI. So for them, it'll feel amazing, I would have thought, because they're not really used to seeing something tangible and something that's actually in the physical world. So I think they'll find it fascinating. I hope they will.
I don't know about anybody else. I'm really creeped out by the idea of the Skeksis being really welcoming, and I know for a fact that this well, not for a fact, but probably with the first episode, like that the Skeksis are kind of not all evil. This idea that they're kind of good, they're not good, but they're not bad, but they've not done anything really drastically wrong yet. And the fact that the Gelfling just wander in of their own accord, ignorant of what actually might be going on, that's more creepy than knowing that they're all evil.
Yeah, like Ethan, like the first episode, obviously we won't spoil anything for anyone, but really the first episode covers that a little bit, and it is creepy. It's kind of like we know who they are, or for the first film, and so you're seeing the Skeksis different, and it's like really terrifying, because you also don't know, like, are they genuine right now? What is this about? Like it's just very strange. I can't wait to actually talk about the first episode eventually. But
I was just gonna say that. I was gonna say I can't wait to talk about this with you guys, because I won't say anything, but we could talk for a long time about this, and that's all I'll say. Like the writing, the performance, everything, just in the first episode. I'll stop talking. That's all I'll say.
I feel it's very much like that idea of, like, if the devil invited you for tea. He's very charming, but
wow, that's great.
What he is. Yeah, you know what he is, but he's saying to you, "Oh, why don't you just have a cake? Why don't you just have some tea?" But you know what he is.
I can't wait to see just see the realization dawning on whichever character that something's wrong here, and it's going to be such like creeping dread, I can imagine, and just like you say, especially because we know what their plans are, and I think it'll be so riveting just to watch the Gelfling slowly realise they've been completely hoodwinked by these.
I wonder if we'll get one more trailer before. I mean, we don't need one. For sure, we don't need one.
I personally don't want to see another one. I think they've shown enough. Personally, I don't know what I don't know what you guys feel about it.
Netflix usually, like, I want to say, like, the day before something comes out, they usually bash you over the head.
Yeah.
Like, watch this, it's coming out tomorrow, it's going to be the best thing. Boom, 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 bam, bam. And then you're, like, laying there bleeding, and you're like, I'm totally going to watch this. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, I really don't know, but I've got the feeling from the first trailer that most of the stuff in that happened in, like, a lot happened in the first episode, I thought, or maybe the first two. So I'm hoping that we've barely seen anything.
I don't think we've seen diddly squat.
Yeah.
Most of the series we haven't seen, in my opinion.
Well, and a lot does happen in the first episode. I mean, it's so crazy. I know we've talked about this, but it's just amazing to see something so new seem so right, because we're living in an age where these studios and companies are going back and reimagining things or retelling a new story or doing a sequel, and they're like, okay, it's all right, but it's not quite, whereas this feels like this is the exact same world. Don't you think, Ethan?
Oh, absolutely. Like that's what I don't know how to articulate it. There's so much new in this, but it feels so right. Isn't that a song? I don't know, but I
But
was
my
so
body's
impressed.
telling me yes.
I was so impressed how we're going to this place and this location, and stuff you've never seen in the original film or in any of the books or comics. But I was so surprised how natural it felt, and I still to this day cannot figure out how they did it. It just you feel at home. You feel like you're in the world of Dark Crystal. Nothing feels off or I guess expanded universe-y, like, or fan fiction-y or anything. Like it doesn't feel like anybody had to make stuff up. Like I watched the movie and I made this up and now I put it in Age of Resistance. No, this feels like this always was here, and now we're just going out and seeing it, and that impressed me a lot. Like you guys know me, if I thought this was garbage, I would tell you. I'm super critical of Dark Crystal when it goes bad, and I'm telling you, this is not bad. Everybody and their dog, except maybe a few outliers, is gonna love this. I'm super impressed with this. How natural this feels, and maybe that's because of Froud. Maybe Froud, I've read some things that he sat down and really helped all of the designers figure out the language of Thra. Like this is what things look like. This is how the world works.
Without doubt.
And it sounds like there was a little bit of friction at first, like, what are you trying to say? But once they clicked, it clicked. And seeing the first episode, it clicked good. Like, oh my gosh. Like, seriously, I'll tell you the two things that I didn't like. One, the trademark and the logo. The logo pops up and there's a TM in it. And I'm like, I don't like that. Everything else, gorgeous. What was the other?
And Ethan turns around and tells Louis and the writers, I don't like that.
You got balls, kid.
And I honestly can't remember the second thing. It just went out of my head. But that TM, but really everything else I absolutely adored. And I'm not trying to blow smoke up anybody's butt. If I thought it was garbage, I'd say, Jamie, do this yourself. This is garbage. I'll see you later. Bye.
Well, you know how like with a lot of prequels or sequels, you'll watch them and then it's always they're using a line from the old films and they're reusing it again, and they're kind of like wink, 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 and they're doing it almost every other line.
Well, hello there.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
that was good.
Star Wars, so many other films and properties. They're just regurgitating what they've seen and what you've heard over and over. I mean, yeah, Solo. I mean, not that whatever. I don't want to make this Star Wars conversation, but we know the culprits, and Age of Resistance does not do that. There's one line that you hear that I was like, oh, okay, this is what writers do, where they kind of they throw the line on its head and like, oh, we know what you're doing here, but it's so like a no-brainer, and everything else is so fresh and new. The castle is so amazing, and you're seeing parts of the castle you'd never thought even existed before. You don't even, it's just amazing.
Tell no one.
Oh,
that sounds awesome. Yeah, I think back to what Ethan said was the fact that they got the Frowns on board. That was absolutely fundamental. Like Brian and Wendy, like they well, more so Brian, but they handcrafted this world before they even created characters. So if you're going to make a prequel and you're going to go back to this place, Brian has to be involved. Like it's just a no-brainer.
Yeah,
like
that's the thing I'm most excited about to find out. I think that for me. But if Jim can't be involved, if the Frowds are involved, then it's gonna feel right.
Yeah, without the Frowds, there is no Dark Crystal. Period. End of story.
Yeah, absolutely, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Yeah, I am so pleased that they're involved. I'm just so pleased. At first, I thought, they're going to be consultants. It's just going to be a little bit. But I thought even that's great. But it seems like They really were full on involved, which was just amazing. Absolutely fantastic.
I love that part in the behind the scenes part of the trailer where you see the three of them working together. Like, I could just sit and watch like 36 hours of just them three chatting and building and designing over and over again. It's just gold, isn't it?
Yeah, or just seeing Brian at his desk drawing mystics or whatever he's doing. Like, I could watch that on, in a loop. It would just be enough. It's amazing.
Did you notice there's a part in it where there's a guy sculpting a mystic, and it's not the archer.
I noticed.
Oh yeah, it's not Irva. I don't know.
It's not him. It looks like either the Dying Mystic Master or Zar, because there's no swirls on the face, so you can't tell. But the face shape looks very similar to them too.
I thought the Dying Master as well. That was my fucking saw it.
It's definitely more classically mystic as well, whereas Irva looks very different than the rest of the mystics that we've seen. He's far more streamlined, and he looks a little more agile. Yeah,
he's more pointy, isn't he, in the face?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He reminds me of the I can never remember his name. The one mystic in the original where you literally see him for one frame. The one with the eye patch.
Ernal, the herbalist.
Herbalist, that's it.
Yeah.
What frame do you see him?
He's literally right at the beginning of the film when they all do the chant. You can just make him out in the back on a ledge, and you can just see his eye patch. That's literally his only shot. Poor bloke.
God, I bet that would be made. The entire thing would have been made as well for that.
Yeah. But I really like
look very. It kind of looks like a sort of juvenile area, which obviously he isn't. So they're only going to be say 100 years or something. But yeah, he just looks. Maybe it's just that because he moves around a lot more. It's just a bit younger looking, but yeah, he just definitely seems.
Yeah, you're right. He looks substantially younger than some of the others.
Yeah.
And his body shape is different too, or I don't know, like the way that horrible character photo that they released of him, where you can tell it's someone's kind of squatting down on their haunches, and you can see his legs, which look huge. It's just a weirdly odd, proportionate. Like, it's just a strange photo. I actually think the design of Irva is awesome. I just don't like that photo.
Yeah, I agree. He doesn't look mystic.
No, it looks like man in suit. Yeah, total puppet.
Yeah. One thing I was really intrigued about is for Aughra, they've got a martial arts expert to do some of the full body puppeteering. So you've got. She said, I'm trying to think who she said. So you've got, what's the producer called? Is it Haley? Haley?
Stanford?
That's Haley, the one, yes. Yeah. We all know she's been posting stuff on Instagram, right?
I didn't know.
You found out the hard way.
I found out the hard way.
That was literally so
sorry,
funny.
Haley. If you're listening to this.
He was devastated when he realised.
But yeah, so she said that Kevin Clash is the main puppeteer, and then you've got, I think it's Helen or Catsme doing the arms, and then she mentioned this other lady who is a martial arts expert, which I find really interesting. So
Aughra's gonna kick ass.
Yeah,
I hear you.
Don't know. Don't know.
Because obviously, like in the original, it was either Mike Edmonds or Kieran Shah in some shots. So the fact that everything's been upscaled is really interesting as well. Because I think with the initial discussions, people were saying about the Crystal Chamber looks smaller, but in actual fact, it's not the chamber that's smaller; it's the Skeksis are bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I kind of at first I was like, why would you do that? And then now that I think about it, it makes them more imposing. Like if you think about if you've got a fully, it's probably easier to puppeteer because you've just stood up not normally.
Yeah.
But if, like we were discussing before, if you've got a point of view shot from a Gelfling's perspective of a Skeksis, and you've got this fully sized Skeksis stood over a Gelfling, that's just going to look amazing.
And it makes sense that if they're younger, they're a little bit, even younger
They're not as
humans we're more upright, we're a little more imposing as opposed to when we get older. We just kind of, our back curves a little bit, we just kind of shrink a little bit. So
well, I mean, when you've seen the hunter running, which literally blew my mind the moment I saw that. I was literally losing it when I saw that.
Such an amazing shot. I never thought we would see that. I love that. And then she's being chased by Dee and Bria flying at him.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, it's awesome.
I love it.
It's quite funny because when I first saw it, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I like that, because you've never seen Skeksis move quick.
Yeah.
Like they've always been slow and they're going to get you, but they're sort of lumbering along. And like you said, they're old, so they're sort of dragging bits of themselves along with them. And they're sort of like this moving tank, really. And now they're a threat. Like they're not, these aren't the old crippled Skeksis we know. These Skeksis can move fast. Like if you're going to run, you've got to run quick. Because the hunter literally was running like Usain Bolt.
It's crazy, and I never imagined that they would be involved in combat as well. I just thought they would be watching from afar, or just I didn't even really think of them leaving the castle ever. So it's really, really intriguing to think that they're going to be fighting, which they obviously are. We've seen the shots now. Really cool. I just thought they'd consider themselves too precious to fight.
Yeah, and it shows how much the writing team and the creative team have thought about this as well. Like, how do we get to the point that the Skeksis need the Garthim? So everything we've seen, like the Skeksis are doing everything themselves, but there must come a point where they think, well, hang on a minute, the Gelfling are actually more of a threat than we thought. We need something bigger, something better.
Isn't that so much more interesting than, season 1, episode 3, and then they just throw the Garthim at the Gelfling?
Without a doubt.
We see the need for something more powerful. Maybe the Skeksis thought, we can handle it,
Yeah,
but
it makes them more interesting.
The Gelfling.
Definitely.
absolutely. That's so. I'm so impressed with the creative team. Like they really understand this world. Now I feel more than even I ever have. And I thought I understood this world, but now I have been humbled. I'm like, oh man, take me down this path. Teach me all you know.
Yeah, Ethan's been a bit speechless.
You've got so much more to learn.
No.
All this new stuff to study. Because you need to stay on top of it, Ethan. We need you to be the encyclopedia.
I want to hear Ethan speaking fluent Podling language by the end of the year.
No, I'm damaged goods. I can't say squat because I've read Flames, and
Okay.
oh my god, spoilers galore. By the way, people, in my opinion, that book should have come out. So Age of Resistance comes out on a Friday. Flames of the Dark Crystal should come out the following Tuesday, because it has got spoilers and then some about Age of Resistance in it. And so it's so hard for me to talk about Age of Resistance now, because that book hints a lot about what happens in the series.
That's
the
a
season.
shame. That's a shame. I think that's to do that's ridiculous.
I'm surprised Netflix didn't ask the Henson Company, say, hey, can you hold off on that book so we can make sure we have enough people watching? Not to say, I mean,
Very small.
Oh boy, I wonder if it's okay to say this. Well, someone said, "Well, it's America. Who reads books?" So
The shade.
the shade of it all. Yes. So maybe that will work in its favor. But I was just shocked that Netflix didn't ask Henson to just hold off on that last book, just to give the show time to breathe. Hold off for 2 weeks. Hold off for a month, just to get eyes. Because if we're going to get a renewal, we're going to get season 2. Hopefully, fingers crossed. You just don't want to spoil it.
Has to be a given. Has to be a given. I mean, there's so, like, you go on Instagram or any type of social media, and there's so many new people who haven't even seen the original movie are just like, what the hell is this? What am I watching? What is this? And it's so much buzz, and kudos to the PR team as well. Like those little videos that they keep dropping of Aughra, they are just gold. Like I'm literally like saving them on my phone, like every single one. Like they are absolutely brilliant.
Can you sign my video?
Oh my god.
Aughra, teach me your ways.
Listen, Gelfling. There is much to be learned, and you have no time.
No, it's such a cool way to teach new fans about this world, and old fans too. Like, let me tell you about the Gelfling clans. Let me tell you about the Skeksis and what they've done. Let me tell you about the crystal and its relationship to everything else. It's so cool to see, because I was worried. This is almost 40 years old, Dark Crystal, and even fans of the movie won't. Not all of them are going to understand everything about this new universe. So it was so clever of them to make these Aughra videos to teach about the lore in the universe. This is so exciting, to get everybody on the same page here.
I agree, because I was a bit worried that, especially with younger people's attention span these days, I feel like it's such a complicated world that they're being thrown into that they, I was worried that they might just sort of give it 10 minutes and just be like, oh no, I don't know what the heck's going on here. Because I'm hoping it's going to be a bit of a slow build, and a lot of people might not sort of get that. So at least if they're seeing a bit of something beforehand.
I don't know. This isn't spoilers. That first episode, I don't think the first episode is going to be slow. It's going to be dense, but the first episode also really explains the universe in a really good way, and everybody, new fans, old fans, are going to get on the same page real fast, and we're all going to go on this cool quest together. And that got me really excited, because at work I told my boss to watch the movie, and he's like, I'm not gonna lie, man, that movie's kind of slow, I don't really dig it. And I'm like, oh, okay, am I fired? But no, like, so I guess in a way, honestly, even if the original movie isn't your cup of tea, maybe Age of Resistance will. Or maybe not. If you don't like the Dark Crystal, something's wrong with you. I'm sorry. Just kidding.
It's amazing how many people say, like, oh my god, this movie's freaked me out as a kid. I don't know if I can do it again. Like, a lot of people say that. I mean, I remember it freaking me out too, but not in a way where I was like, I'm scared, I'm having nightmares. It was more like, oh my god, this is freaky. I can't stop watching it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, me too. It freaks me out like mad, but I loved that. When I was a kid, I was only into things that freaked me out. I just loved being scared and horrified. So,
I am so not ready for Gelfling draining on any level. I am not ready on any level. The fact that I've got to sit in a room full of people and watch the first episode and try and not like freak out is
Who's wailing?
That's like first world problem.
Mr. Reedy, would you please keep quiet?
Please stop screaming. You're scaring me.
Less of the tears, please. But she's so beautiful.
We've never seen a fully drained Gelfling as well. Kira got out.
Oh my god, I wish we could talk about this, Ethan.
I mean, the thing that even intrigues me as well is the fact that do they pull back from full draining? So, for example, when they drain the podlings, like you see him, he drains the podling and then he closes the hatch, right? But if he continues, will they just die or does it have to go through this process where you're left with this husk of a person, and they're still alive, and then you have to sadly end them? I mean, that whole thing that is just horrendous, but it's brilliant at the same time.
It's such. I think that's one of the unique things about the Dark Crystal is that it's got such a great gimmick that is, it's sort of worse than death in a way, that your soul is being stolen from you. You have to sit there and watch it, just let it happen, and your actual soul is being taken and then being drank by someone else. And it's horrific, and it's great because it's a way for them to, they're not actually killing people, so they can kill a lot of characters on screen without actually killing them, which is quite good. Keeps it a bit more family friendly, I suppose. But yeah, I do love that concept. It's horrifying.
That pot draining in the original, it's fucking horrifying.
Oh, really?
It's iconic as well. It's iconic. Like that whole scene is just. I remember. Two of my friends. I was like, "Oh yeah, we've got to watch. Have you ever seen Dark Crystal?" No. I'll show you one scene. And I showed them that scene, and they literally just looked at me and were like, "What the hell is this?" Like, I was like, it's cool, isn't it? And they're like, "This is horrendous. What is wrong with you?"
I love that scene. My favourite bit in that scene is his breathing. I think the Podling's breathing.
Oh my God,
That's
once it stopped.
That you notice the puppet breathing. It looks so lifelike. You can just see the life being drained from it. Oh,
and the hand.
Yeah,
you can see like the vein pulsing in the hand.
Oh yeah.
The worst thing is, there's actually another Podling sat next to him, and he's young and hasn't had the essence drained out of him. How come he doesn't get drained first? What? How come the other guy got picked first? What's he done wrong?
Look into the reflector, Podling.
They're just making that one watch.
Yeah, I forgot.
He's just been punished.
Like, you're gonna help me with him when I'm done.
No.
Oh God.
Play not yet.
Man, that was really good.
That was really good. Almost better than Mark Hamill's version.
I can't believe we're actually getting 10 hours.
One thing that I actually want to thank the creative team for is for actually making me like Gelflings. I never liked the Gelflings in the original movie. And it's nothing against the way that I felt for me when I was younger, the Dark Crystal was it was like pure escapism. So it was so weird. Everything was so weird and so alien and different, except Jen and Kira. And I always felt when they were on screen, because I understand why they did it. They kind of want to ground the viewer to something that looks similar to a human. But for me, I always think that Dark Crystal is always at its best when they're creating the most weird. So with the new Gelfling clans, the more they go away from that sort of human design, the more I like them.
I agree. You get away from that uncanny valley thing then, because you do get that a bit with Jen and Kira, that they look. It's like you could tell they didn't want to go too far. Well, if you look at the original concepts, they were a lot more sort of alien looking, sort of like Fraudian bug eyes and stuff. Yeah. I think it is better to go a bit further from human, because they look a bit too familiar. I think, and it's like, well, I agree with you. I think it's good to go. When I saw D, I was so pleased that they've just gone really, a lot more alien living, a lot more out of this world.
Oh yeah, Jamie and I talked about this after the first episode. Like, why do we love Deet so much? Like, why does she read as more alive to us than, say, Rianne or Brea? And it really is that the further away you get from a human look, like you said, Robert, you do get away from that uncanny valley, and unfortunately, I guess they got her wrong with Jen and Kira in the original film. Looking more human, it throws you off. Like, oh, it looks like it's trying to be a human, but it's not. It looks off. Yeah. It looks wonky. It looks like a puppet.
the moment it doesn't blink right, the moment it doesn't twist right, the
Yeah.
moment its hand doesn't pick up something, right, your brain just goes, no,
Not
No.
real.
this is not real, this is a puppet. Whereas when you've got something like a Skeksis where it looks, where you can't figure out where the human is in that,
Yeah.
then that just opens up. It just opens up to a whole new thing.
Yeah, as soon as you don't have a
Totally.
frame of reference, it can move anywhere because you haven't got a clue. You don't know what that creature is, so your mind can believe that it can move however it moves.
I mean, like you look at the original like performers for the Mystics. Like kudos to people like Hugh Spite and Toby Philpott. Like they are on their haunches, like right low down in like a deep squat for like the entire performance. And I remember just as a kid just watching it and just being like, how have they done that? Like there's no, you know, now looking, you know, retrospectively now, you look and think, well, there's no CG here. So how have they done that performance? And like the simple thing of like the weaver plucking the strings and all four hands are playing, it's just
Yeah. Yeah.
it's just perfect.
It's magical.
It is. I love that shot. It's just beautiful. So alien. But yeah, God, I could not have performed Veneru. What in a few seconds. It just my back hurts even just looking at it. I'm like, flipping it. No way. Definitely not. No wonder there's less of them in AOR.
But yeah, I think I absolutely love Deet's design. I love the I don't know, and then she's like pink, and she's kind of got like an Africa / India feel to her.
Desert Mordra one.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Seethy.
Oh,
Madra
she just
Seethy,
looks
yes.
amazing.
Yeah, it's
She
pretty
looks
awesome.
amazing. Like
Absolutely.
the use of color and like the beads and like the sort, she's got like this sort of head wrap thing, and like you can just see like all the stitches from where someone's hand stitched like these beads onto her head wrap. It's just incredible, absolutely incredible.
The stress, the material, and everything. It's so gorgeous. Absolutely
Yeah.
gorgeous. I really love the Grotten Mordra. I think she's the cutest girlfriend I've ever seen. She just looks like a tiny little Angela Lansbury girlfriend. Adorable. She's so cute. I really love her. I can't wait to see her. Very.
Who were you at the voice cast? Who were you most surprised at who got a role? That's just a general question to everyone.
Ooh.
Keegan Michael Key, is that his name? That's
Yeah.
surprised at. Just because he's a comedian, he's a very specific voice. I'm thinking, what is he gonna like make this funny? You know, like make him funny, like he's gonna take. I was just afraid he'd pull me out of it, but he's the emperor, or I'm sorry, he's the scroll keeper, and he sounds
No, he's
like
the ritual master.
The ritual
Ritual
master. Sorry,
master.
yes, and he sounds like the ritual master.
Oh, that's so cool. Like because his voice in the original, I think the original was Jerry Nelson. Yeah, Jerry Nelson, and he's so like, I love that sort of like pompous, like high priest, like Catholic thing going on. It's just brilliant. So
Yeah. Oh, it's so exciting. So close. So close.
I just want to see the series to come, and then just chat for hours and hours and hours.
I'm taking like the 30th and the 31st off. Like I cannot do anything else but watch this show, kind of like shower in this show, and then just like talk to everybody like when it's happening. And you know, even Louis said that he's like, this isn't the type of show that people will be able to binge. He's like, there's too much going on. There's way too much happening here. It's not
Challenge.
And it doesn't
Challenge accepted.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it feels like a movie. It doesn't feel like a show. Most shows, like even the best shows, even like Stranger Things. Well, no, I don't know if that feels like a show per se, but I just feels like nothing else we've ever seen. Again, because it's on another world. There's no people in it. it just feels like, what I love about the original Lord of the Rings films is that it feels like human history. It feels like human mythology, even though it isn't. And that's what Game of Thrones feels like a little bit as well. Like we feel connected to it in some ways. And for me, the Dark Crystal has that same type of mythology where it feels like this could have been real. This could have been somewhere unknown.
Yeah, because they built the world first before they created the characters. They laid down that groundwork that that was the main thing that Jim and Brian did. So the fact that they built this world, gave it a history, you totally believe it because there's so much material. I mean, like Ethan's been absorbing this information for like the last 30 years. And there's just loads of it. It's just, like the world of the Dark Crystal, like it's like a Bible. It's glorious. It's better than the Bible. It's just class, utter class.
Yeah. I can't wait. I hope that they release that whatever that is, a piece of paper, I don't know what it is, where it's got all the symbols on it, and you see Agra, and it's unfolded. It looks like it's folded into a triangle. I don't know what it is, but I would love it if they released that as like...
Is that the one with the castle in the centre?
I think so, yeah.
It looks like yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it? Like, do a replica, and I will instant purchase. Honestly, right, I keep looking, and I'm just like, James, you're seriously just gonna have to like just slow down a bit, like wait for the series to drop and then decide what you want.
You're like, sorry, we have to buy diapers next week.
Yeah, sorry, George.
Oh, poor George.
Oh dear.
Well, I suppose we should probably wrap this, and we can talk again later.
Yeah, sure thing. I'm always available.
We could talk forever about this stuff. So definitely.
But yeah, thanks, guys.
Yeah,
Cool.
this has been an episode of the Nearsighted Nebri. Two in the shower.
I swear you change the name of this show every single episode.
Well, no, I think Crystal Shard Conversations is work. Ethan and I were talking, and we like the idea of just kind of like friends in the basement, like Stranger Things, just kind of shooting the shit and talking and having fun, as opposed to something that is more formal.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I feel like our excitement is not formal at all.
No.
Oh yeah. I didn't go full geek there. That was like about 60%. I've got about another 40% in the tank.
Well, next time you need to bring 100%.
Never go full geek.
Never go full.
Yeah, it would be unlistenable if we just completely let it all out.
Next episode, you have to do your best impression.
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
Through the whole thing.
All do.
I'll be the Mystic Master throughout the whole thing because I have the deep voice for it.
What, you're on screen for 2 seconds.
Yeah. What can you do? All right, fellas. I gotta go to work.
No worries, man.
Have a good day.
I'll talk to you guys
Okay.
later.